It's a power pick, but it's not necessarily a Longzhu power.
Yeah, and some of these power picks have been slightly less effective than other.
It's a power pick, but it's not necessarily a Longzhu power pick.
Yeah, and some of these power picks have been slightly less effective than others. And what's going over to Longzhu here, specifically if they lock in the Sejuani, were two of the highest priority going into the tournament, but have fallen slightly. A lot of teams are prioritizing Gragas over Sejuani and Janna over Lulu. So it's actually pretty rare that you see these three picks actually on the same team in the Lulu, the Sejuani, and the Kog'Maw.
And some of it is Broxah playing his own style. His picks so far this tournament have been Elise, Lee Sin, okay, one Sejuani game, but now the Rek'Sai. He's only played one Cinderhold champion so far the entire tournament, or at least in the group stage, I should say, in the main phase here. So he's playing to his style. They're going to get the Cinder, the mid lane, more early pressure.
But I'm getting a bit giddy because, you know, when you think of League catch-all turns, Juggernaut became one of them. It was actually Prey and Gorilla that developed Juggernaut on the Rocks Tigers now many years ago. So seeing Lulu Cock all Prey, this guy's God.
And I wonder if this is the moment where we see another team try and speed up the game. Longzhu was speed running Worlds, but they have been doing it against other teams that are playing slowly. And here, they have what you would look at as a slow composition. But you have Rek'Sai on one side, you have Syndra on one side. They can pick an aggressive support and even counterpick the top lane and really try and go for an early game strategy.
And I was actually talking to some of you analysts about how would they approach red side, and they were honestly saying more of the counterpick for Cap story rather than necessarily picking for Soaz. But Soaz often finds himself in those tricky matchups. Giving him the counterpick to at least pick a safe tank matchup would be big.
Sona gonna come through, super good laner for sure. She is so gankable.
Oh yes.
But the landing phase is great.
Incredibly gankable, can do a bunch of damage in lane, and can also be very good late game. And we were talking about
That's more like
who else we would see for Ardent Censor if too many supports started seeing banned. Sona was in that conversation. And will we see Khan's Jace?
I think it's likely. It's the sort of pick that basically wins every tank matchup. It will be locked in. This guy solo brought up the world top lane Jace win rate by a massive amount. He went on a huge tear, 10-1, 11-1. This guy is excellent at Jace. And now suddenly the counter pick, finding a pick that's in Soaz's wheelhouse that does well against Jace, that's pretty tricky.
Well, he's going to go for the Renekton onto this one. He is French after all. Renekton is basically their home champion in this case. That or Fiora, if you know the reference, of course. But that's interesting. A blind Jace is still a bit interesting. It is you know, a lot of confidence out of Khan. The easy choice is to just pick a big dumb tank. I mean, heck, toppling Gragas and just wait for whatever the counter pick is. He's going bold, so is Soaz.
A lot of it becomes down to the 2v2 in those situations. When you have a Jace, you can pressure the lane so hard. And if Cuz is there, sometimes the 2v2 becomes unwinnable for the opposition side. So Soaz and Broxah have to be very creative if they want to shut down Khan.
But they have to know what the plan is from Longzhu. This is basically the core tenets of their game plan. A comp that plays very well around top side. First sight in the Jace took till second week, but I think the preparation around it should be basically copy-paste from their excellent LCK sum.
Absolutely agree. So we're getting ourselves into the second game of the day. We'll see more from both these teams further on. Longzhu, their goal is to speed run through Worlds, be the fastest team to 6-0 their group stage of Worlds history. They're on pace for that so far if they can keep the results going. FNATIC hoping to stay alive on this one.
Yeah, they have the Kog'Maw Lulu. They also have the Jace, so signature picks across the top and the bottom of the map.
They took power, whereas FNATIC seemed to be a little bit more specific about what they were looking for from the drop. They've left a lot open. Power to a Korean team is a scary proposition.
We've seen Reckless's Twitch, though, be so incredible as well. Nearly won that game.
Bit more specific about what they were looking for from the drop. They've left a lot open. Power to a Korean team is a scary proposition.
We've seen Reckless's Twitch, though, be so incredible as well. Nearly won that game.
Bit more specific about what they were looking for from the drop. They've left a lot open. Power to a Korean team is a scary proposition.
We've seen Reckless's Twitch, though, be so incredible as well. Nearly won that game.
Bit more specific about what they were looking for from the drop. They've left a lot open. Power to a Korean team is a scary proposition.
We've seen Reckless's Twitch, though, be so incredible as well. Nearly won that game.
Bit more specific about what they were looking for from the drop. They've left a lot open. Power to a Korean team is a scary proposition.
see what comes into this one.
Exactly, polar opposites during week one. The fastest game we have seen of Worlds 2017 was the last time Longzhu and FNATIC played against each other. 20 minutes, 52 seconds, the third fastest game in Worlds history.
And you have to think for these 5 players of FNATIC, it's etched in their mind, burned in their mind even with the dancing Rift Herald and not even 21 minutes on the clock. But this has kind of become the storyline of World. Longzhu do Worlds quick. Longzhu right now started at 30 minutes, 30 minutes for the first game, but it's getting shorter, Jatten. I don't know how much shorter it can get. That's a worrying thing to think about.
Yeah, not much. And you've also had a week to reset. So here you have to see whether the FNATIC implosion that it seemed like we were witnessing on Twitter had a huge lasting effect, or whether they've been able to refocus their strategy. When I look at the draft, it does feel refocused to me. They have a lot of CC, they have lanes they can play around, and they even have a late game strategy with Sona healing up the Jace poke, but they have to be able to execute in the early game and hold on.
And that's why I'm excited to get more data on what does some of these other supports look like in bot lane that can use Ardent Sensor. Sona and Soraka, for example, are ones that we were thinking about. Sona very, very strong in lane harassing, but the gank ability, that's going to be a problem.
Speaking of strong in lane, Caps took 2 of the small Raptors from the initial leash. He will get level 2 on the first wave and be able to fight BDD.
Yeah, 2 small Raptors is the max amount you can give over as a jungler while still hitting level 4 off a 5 camp clear. So you don't necessarily hit the level 2 immediately, but you still can get there.
My eyes are on Cuz a lot in this early game because traditionally play around the Jace, play around the top side. Where he goes first will be very interesting. You want to be there to take down Jez, who will get very low, will be trying to harass, will be likely to overextend, but also snowballing tops, whether it's a fast gank top into a bot lane focus, or whether he's going to shift between those 2 lanes. There's a lot of options for Cuz, and we usually don't have the microscope on his individual decision-making, because there's a lot of strong voices on Longzhu.
And listen, the Broxah jungle path is not pathing towards topside, but the Cuz is. It was a very standard red to blue to Grom Sejuani gank, but the ward has spotted them out. They at least see him coming mid. Caps is looking for a counter gank.
Stun to BDD, the flash knock him is there. Do they have the damage up? But he's down. Summoners already. One more shot will do him in, and first blood comes through to Broxah. Trade kill, of course, coming across now, and Caps has to run away from Cuz. Red buff is on, though.
He can kill him.
Yeah, he's got cleanse, but no flash, so we can get away from the stun. He's going to have to burn that here. Gets away.
Make sure he cleanses before the explosion happens. Also, BDD's first death of Worlds. There is a question of would he die in group stage. FNATIC ganks him early.
And that means only Ming is deathless. We'll be playing later in the week, but only a few minutes. The first game of week 2. BDD falls down for the first time. Both sides were baiting, but there was an information advantage to FNATIC. When you watch the replay, it's actually off your screen, but in the minimap you can see that Sejuani is seen pathing into mid lane, and that's why huge advantage.
Before the flash, didn't have any trading.
Remember that was with vertical jungling and a lot of support around topside to allow the denial.
For the turret, and any type of all-in would be matched by Cuz in a 2v2. This is a
and it's not a dead SOAS, but now he's finally getting access to CS experience with his jungler. Short. Still plenty of
damage on a Reckless. He's got to be a bit careful. The health bar is running low on this. The chase is on. Out of mana, out of range, but that was a decent trade, and it's going to be the first recall out of FNATIC. If you have some money, they'll be able to afford decent items. Yeah,
that lane is splitting so far from a farm perspective, but FNATIC forced into a recall here, so a little bit of that pressure will seed over to Longzhu.
That means for him, 1,400 gold recall it was for Reckless & Co., so he's going to have Zeal his first item. It's pretty standard to rush her.
It does feel like the early phase of the game is going to be a lot of this. Jungler face-offs on the top side, so at least Brox is playing at least lip service to providing coverage for the top side. Having vision on the enemy jungler is like having a ward around whichever camp he is on, because you know he's there. To me, I'm always interested to see when the transition comes to the first gank on bot side, because vision priority isn't part of the metagame. Sightstone timings are much later. Actually getting cemented vision on the bot side is difficult, and we already said you could choose if you were Kaz, top side or bot side focus. Expect Sona to be very much overextending, and it's a potential kill for whichever side visits bot lane first.
And I look at Prey, that is an incredibly early upgrade on Relic Shield. So he has faster sharing on the Targon's Brace, and when he completes the support quest, which will be another 300 gold, he will be getting that shield from the item. So very defensive play there by Longzhu's bot.
Summoning Hill for Moose BB. Did he wanted to dodge away from the stuns? He's got Cuz around him nearly as well, and that's still a Summoning Hill down for Broxa, looking for the gank. Right now, this Rek'Sai is down a level 6v5. Cuz has ulti access, but caps his cleanse out. There's no target there.
A bit more flexibility with build path when you are on Rise and you're not looking for a Rod of Ages timing. If you see a Negatron cloak, probably going to be going away from the Rod of Ages as a first purchase, so at least has the ability to deal with some of the all-ins from Caps.
Yeah, he's doing the Abyssal Masquerade. And what I find interesting is Powelter had gone for Rod of Ages in the same matchup. Now the ulti's going to come across. They're going to land it on Sona. So's going to land a little bit of damage on Reckless, but he's going to try to get away with the camouflage. The slow is still landing. He's trying to wait on the flash. He finally does so at the very end. Prey, one more auto won't be enough to kill. Out they go, but a solid trade, and gank means some damage.
Yeah, based on the power of those slows, I would have expected Reckless to flash much earlier, but he thought he'd be able to hold on to it. Ends up costing him both.
It was interesting to see the choice there from Kaz. Both members of the bot lane, Reckless and Jez, were possible targets. He kind of split his damage, but he hit the CC. Getting both summoners out of Reckless is a very high value, because now, if you're Sona, you're probably going to have to play under turret, not be able to overextend to harass trade like Sona wants to, because your AD carry doesn't have summoners.
See the two coming in. They want to fight Cuz. He's got that shield at the very beginning. Now they're going to knock that one down. The first damage could be there. Charging away and going to stay alive. And here comes Khan. He wants the kill, but a knock comes through for Broxa. Ulti to buy some time. He's still brought on the wrong side. Yeah, a flash makes through. He has no way out now. So has flashes, but they're already out of range. Khan gets away with it. +1 kill to Longzhu.
Yeah, Khan well ahead of that play on the roam, even though Broxa was just falling. Jess has had his flash, but not for long.
A straight up 2-on-2 kill. Of course, the gank burned the summoners, but now the repeat fight is there.
That was actually a big mistake from FNATIC's bot lane. They didn't respect the level 6 being hit by Gorilla. It meant that Prey could go wild running in, because they would have had the health advantage. So 2v2. Unfortunately, that kind of piles onto what is suddenly a bit of a Longzhu advantage.
Yeah, if you're wondering about mentality and tilt as well, those are the killers in these games, where you're using your flashes and still falling down. This is a play FNATIC was trying to set up. They have the tremor sense for Cousin BDD, but they don't track the Jace until it's too late. The fight has already started. Not to mention, it's incredibly difficult to burst to Sejuani thanks to the pass.
And you mentioned the flash. It was smart, because at this point, Longzhu knows Soaz is coming. The follow is going to path through from the Void Assault, from the Rek'Sai ultimate. They know he'll be there. We move to bottom lane, and unfortunately, Jez has walked up too far.
And I think it was also a smart move by Longzhu right there, hiding in the brush, knowing they're both level 6, and actually freezing the wave down on the bottom side. So if Jez and Reckless want to hit 6, they're either completely giving up farm or just losing some of the experience when they move up to try and get it. Instantly punished by Prey and Gorilla.
And the no assist credit goes to Cuz. He does kind of get that advantage for his team again. The summoners being down, a really big deal. First item's already done. Gorilla, sub 10-minute Ardent Sensor, and he's got a long-range marksman to kind of apply that damage with. This is a very strong 2-on-2 right now for Longzhu.
And the power spike when it comes to trading is going to be hellish for Reckless and Jez to deal with. The synergy between the on-hit multiplication of the Ginsu Rageblade and the Ardent Sensor is one of the hidden big things why on-hit Varus has become more of a thing. Unfortunately for Reckless, it's just going to kind of build a hurricane and try to disengage, push the wave and lead. Because any sort of standing damage trades are going to be super on the side of Longshu.
And when one lane hits that power spike first, the lane is mostly over. Add that to the fact that there are no flashes on the Fnatic bottom side, and Broxa isn't over there on that side of the jungle. The turret's not even contestable. Fnatic had to move off.
And it's one of those multi-step plans. Of course you can invade the blue buff. They can't enter a lane against us with how strong we are. They have to take a very defensive path to lane, and Reckless and Jesus say, well, we need to get out of this 2v2 as fast as possible. They'll be able to hit the map first, but big advantage being piled up around bot side for Longshu.
And the question is, how quickly and effectively can Fnatic answer this? The play when you're getting invaded in the bottom side is to just go over to the top side. Full turret gold going over to Prey.
650 to him. That's going to feel pretty good on this. We'll see what comes next as this turret's going to take a fair bit of damage. Nice little knockback there. And this turret could go down with one more wave of this kind of pressure, but keep in mind Lulu and Sejuani both joining the fray.
And Khan's highlight reel has only grown and outplays with Jace under turrets when multiple members head up top. His first thought was to pull back. He now has the support of his laners. They're not even going to get that standing gold and getting that top lane out of turret.
Going to stay alive for now. It's going to be the wave caught by the bot lane, the duo of Fnatic down to that lane over there by tier 2. Recall comes through for Prey. Not quite enough for the Rage Blade, but he's close to that completion soon. No Drake's picked up yet, but a 2,500 gold lead means Longju in heavy control right now.
And now, it's all on Fnatic resetting. They realize now they're behind. The game is not over by any means, but this is the part where we can really query, where did Fnatic go? The first game on stage after last week, they've fallen behind. They're starting to feel, of course, at least a modicum of reality and negativity about where they are. This is really where their character can be accurately judged.
And I think any gank is acceptable in the fact that all 5 flashes for Longju are on cooldown, and there's even still a flash for Cap. So they can go for a play, but they have to commit for it. And the problem is their lanes are not actually in great spots right now. So if Brox is thinking about pathing bottom lane, they're going to lose the turret top.
Damage already coming through in this one. 2 different attack speed buffs available for Lulu thanks to Ardent Sensor. Straight for bot lane.
I do like Fnatic's plan, which right now is to send the duo lane around and basically play around Jace. When you have someone who on their own will crush lane in a 1v1, don't make it a 1v1, 1v2, 1v3. The price you pay is there are more objectives on the top side that are being focused. A Rift Herald has already been started. There still is a Mountain Drake, but for now, Fnatic are very much second when it comes to actually picking up those big map objectives.
Right. Theoretically, it's tradable, but right now it's not happening.
Yeah, and Prey, thanks to turret gold and the 1 assist, is 1,100 gold ahead of Reckless. They gave him solo turret on first turret. They gave him solo turret top, compared to Fnatic, who just got 1 turret, and it was shared between the Sona and the Twitch.
Play now. Khan does have his summoners though. No real threat on the Jace here, but the bot lane turret still being focused a little bit. A couple hundred health off.
A gold lead with Rage Blade, 3-15 minutes, means that you have that item early. You don't have that annoying time when you're sitting on a Blasting One as an AD carry and hoping to get the actual combination. So that's why Longju were giving the solo gold, because they wanted the Rage Blade to actually be completed. And now Rage Blade, Ardent Sensor, that's pain.
That's a lot of pain. And he's going towards the next item as well. You expect to be Hurricane, but Double Dagger could be a lot of different options here for Prey. See what it is. Reckless, of course, on the hunt. The champion he's done so well with before. He's been one of the biggest split pushes for Fnatic. Before it was Kennen. The Twitch, I think, works really, really well in that style as well. With a Hurricane early, his wave clears rate. Like, this is a spot where Reckless definitely can take over. If he can get some gold, get some items from his inventory, it's going to need quite a bit from Fnatic if they want to win this thing.
Yeah, he'd have to get an incredibly good open to a fight, and there's already a decent amount of bruiser-style tankiness that Longju has been able to pick up right here. Ninja Tabi and a couple of people. The Abyssal Mask Rise for a little bit of extra durability, both magic resist, but also health.
We mentioned that on the bot side of the map was an objective Fnatic could take slower. Unfortunately, for lane tempo, they didn't feel they could stay long enough to actually take the Mountain Drake. It adds to Longju's advantage. The Rift Herald very aggressively summoned in mid lane. We can't see the turret HP, but I imagine starting at least. Actually was actually really the only first burst of damage.
I mean, definitely Caps is going to have lane priority in this one. Cinder versus Rai is going to have the push. Ooh, Reckless wants to go in on a BDD. He's got Sona behind him. Speaking of Sona, I want to point out she's bought a tier right now, Jess. This is actually a very common build if you're watching like Challenger Sona's solo queue. The mana pool really nice to spam those spells. Exactly,
especially when you're dealing with poke, it makes you even more squishy. It's a very high risk strategy to use. You don't think it would transfer over to competitive, but I do actually think if you were going to play Sona, it is objectively the right build because you need the mana.
Absolutely agree on this one. We'll see what comes through as Soaz is stuck in a bit of a 1v2. The Sejuani over the wall.
I think it's also a reality that Boots can be delayed pretty significantly on Sona. Her big play is, of course, the flash, right, for flash ult. But otherwise, she's so far in the back line, she's not poking for priority targets with the Q lock-on in a team fight. She's defensive. She doesn't get punished not having Boots like other supports.
You actually just don't build Boots on a lot of Sona builds, because by the time you get into the late game, your E is making you fast enough that you're basically movement speed parity with the rest of your team.
This is the Juggernaut work, by the way. Double buffs onto the Kog'Maw, the W and the E from Lulu, and he gets to walk in and frontline and do everything by himself. And you're seeing the glimpses of that right here. Prey can frontline on the Kog'Maw as long as he's watching for the CC, as long as he can get away from Syndra, get away from Sona. Right now, no cleanses. Chain Stun can kill him.
And I'd like to call you, Jat, and be like, okay, but what about flash cooldown reduction for the Sona? But the reality is that with how much gold income you get as a support now in this meta, we've been able to track, and supports get about 20% more gold. You need to fill up those items with other things, as well. Cuz going to try and disengage, I guess.
Trying to save the chirp by himself.
Minions, but this should still fall. Get more auto attacks. The ulti coming across the 2-man hit to be a disengage. The number of autos took a little bit too long, so Fnatic burn their first crescendo to get away safely and knock down mid-turret.
Yeah, and we'll get back to support items in a moment, but that was just a very proactive play by Fnatic. Grouping with the Ardent Sensor Sona. Very strong play to make. A lot of sustained healing thanks to the tier. Push down that turret very quickly.
And it's a good read of what's happening in the game, because of course Ryze and Jace are both from side lane.
Look at that. And if Sona had not delivered a ton of heals, and the Summoner heal at the very end as well, that would have been dead cat for a flash down.
So Jace and Ryze spend most of this mid-game in side lane. So grouping mid lane was a proactive strategy they could make. Very good to see on the side of Fnatic, because again, we just don't want them to roll over. That game plan is only 3 minutes and 50 seconds, the game time. The last time these two teams met just a few days ago. It seems like this one's going to go longer.
No, this is going to be definitely more than 3-minute game here on this one. Prey and the rest of the company going to look to do what they can. I do want to point out something else that I actually really love. Stormraider Surge, I think, is the best keystone on Kog'Maw, provided you can survive your laning phase. And it means that when you get like 4 auto attacks, you gain the giant burst of movement speed. And that is the only, kiting tools that Kog'Maw has, is just his basic movement abilities, and being able to walk really, really quickly, a huge deal for him.
Get the maximum value out of your limited Biocane Barrage, your W duration there. So
absolutely.
I do like it as a choice. But yeah, the simple fact is, if you get 20% more gold as supports, your items start to pile up. You do hit 6 items much earlier, and honestly, you want 5 in a control ward slot. So if you don't have space for Boots, more actives might be more important for Sona, given how she plays.
Oh, that's a flash force. I think that's actually correct. It would have probably been a death to Cuz right there.
More space in your inventory as well. I think Sona is one of the best scaling supports with gold as well. That's why occasionally you would see mid Sona or top Sonas actually be relatively effective, but there's no flash on Sona. Longzhu wants to enter that mid lane turret, because they're actually being out-turreted by Fnatic right now, even after that start of feeding all the turrets to Prey.
And the early game has definitely slowed down quite a bit, of course. Not a lot of kills in the last few minutes. Soaz still within 10 CS or so of Khan. Not that Renekton has a godly late game, but it's certainly a pretty decent move right here. Nice stun gonna land. They're gonna look for the follow-through on a Cuz. Will be coming across. Almost going down. Someone heal comes through from BDD to keep him alive. And out of the backline, Soaz here. Look for the knockers, look for the stuns. He's gonna try to cut away because the damage output is in. And Prey gonna knock him down. And here comes the next one. Jess is likely to fall as well. BDD grabbing himself another one. His first kill of the game, 5-1 now for Longzhu.
Longzhu able to answer that spell of Fnatic aggression by having just enough tankiness on all their members right there. We talked about how they have that bruiser level tankiness, and then Fnatic just overdove. They were trying to make 2 plays at once rather than just focusing on Cuz.
And we need to see the replay to know exactly how much information they had about where Prey was on the map. He was in position. If it was a 5v3, certainly you could follow through. But by the time we saw Prey on our screens, Fnatic had gone too far. They felt too hopped up after some nice decision-making and some nice objective trading in the previous moments. The mid lane still stays short. So for now, the next step of the plan for Longzhu, actually pushing this advantage, is being relatively at least stalled out by Fnatic.
We'll see though, late game scaling, it's hard to say who really has the better of it. All right, now we're gonna watch that fight again from the mid lane.
Yeah, so Prey and Gorilla are in the mid lane as they all try and burst, because everything burned. Heal as well as Lulu ult, and then knowing Lulu ult is down, Soaz and Roxa just see it. You want to focus the support because they're so pivotal to kill in this meta. He'd already burned all his heals though, and it left Prey untouched to just unleash, stack up his rage, and get the kill.
So I actually don't like the idea, if you're going to run barrier, of focusing support, because you Actually, no, I take that back. You're actually right. Barrier is, of course, very easy to keep Marksman alive, so I rescind my comment. Gorilla, the more easily killed of the two, would still doesn't come through.
Yeah, in that moment, I can see why it's happening. I think a lot of other teams have found success killing supports first in fights, but it just wasn't to be that fight.
Go another Crescendo going to land, but it doesn't really matter, because once again, just like the last time, Blast goes over the wall. Nice steal from Khan, gets a rep up for himself. Walks away swaggily, looks like a gentleman in this one.
The game hasn't been all about Khan, but there's still time. His late game Jace has been powerful. It's not just been about his 1v1s, but so as finding free time, he'd be competitive. 20 CS down against a Jace, nothing to really hold your nose up against.
Yeah, I think Soaz has done very well in the laning phase against Khan, considering the situation he was put in. But also, in this particular team composition, who is going to be the armor stacker that makes Jace, quote, fall off?
Fair.
Because if he has the Black Cleaver and all of these armor penetration items coming in with Serrated Dirk, it's really going to hurt. That's going to be over half of Sona's health if one of those rings true.
And he's going to have to hit those damage timings actually when the clock needs him to, because there is still a time where Rek'Sai and Renekton will have armor items, and no one on Longzhu apart from Cuz will be really building like that. It will become a battle of front lines, because it's artillery AD carries, it's hyper carries, it's Prey and Reckless on Kog'Maw and Twitch. So his damage, the Jace's damage in fights, is going to need to actually be on point.
See what happens into this one. Second items have come online for the bot lane Marksman. Hurricane on the one side and Infinity Edge on the other. These squishes can be popped if the right champions get into range. There's not a lot of armor yet on Cuz, and certainly not on Broxa. Even the junglers were a bit more tanky.
Meanwhile,
look at this,
they have a mountain break
run
as well.
It's been swept out fast. It was spotted though by the blue trigger usage, and Longzhu's gonna cut away for that.
Difficult with the Tremor Sense to actually steal a Baron under the nose of FNATIC. So, of course, try it and then try to get a rotation as Khan and Soaz.
The red buff gets the knockback out of Soaz with the blast code available to him, and he will in fact use that. Khan could still be on the chase though with Soaz. Yeah, has to run into the opposing jungle to maybe get a recall off. He looks like he will do so.
Red buff coming in key right there. You get a lot of use out of that as a ranged auto attacker in Jace against a melee. Soaz is able to escape, just burning his ultimate though.
You saw Longzhu check a couple of brushes, see maybe we can find him here. They didn't check all of them. And it was a safe recall in the end. FNATIC take that time to actually get rid of the ward control that Longzhu would put down over this Baron area.
It's actually really respectful from Longzhu, because I thought they might say, okay, whatever Soaz, we'll try and take mid lane turret, but they were worried about being flanked. They just backed away, took easier objectives like picking up the Raptors and making sure Renekton wasn't around. They realize, they feel like they have strengthened their process, confidence in what they're doing. Bit of a zoning realm warp there.
That might have been a scouting as well. I forget if you get vision off of the targeted end area of the ultimate, but they may have just checked Fog of War with that, if nothing else. But mid lane still is going to fall. That's the turret down.
An extra TP in, no stun though. He might have to cancel. No, he does not cancel.
He's going to time out. There's going to be the Crescendo landing. Going to have the burst damage, not just yet. The flash forward, they're going to knock down Jets. The Sona is gone, and the chase through going to be easy on a Reckless. The double kills. The bot lane is dead, and Caps might be next on the chopping block. Can they get the attacks in? Almost. The flash screen is going to keep him alive, but a 2 for 0 easily. Longzhu to look at the next objective.
And this is what great teams do. They realize the Renekton's behind us. No one is going to walk up. Let's move forward. We don't have to worry about peeling back. They did not have Khan there. It did not matter. And now they turn on to Baron.
And I think that play displayed the difference in the coordination level of these two teams. The Sona ultimate not being followed up on, the teleport when the Syndra ult had already missed. All those things out of sync as Caps kills Khan on the back end.
Gets something for himself. Khan was zoning out the jungle. He lost his flash for that play as well. Caps the same, but worth it, of course, as Prox was part of that fight also. All right, something on the board. FNATIC got their second kill of the game, but this is now a very tough road ahead as Longzhu are far, far apart in this.
Yeah, 5,000 gold and Baron. If there is a go button, you expect Longzhu to press it now. Thinking about that last fight.
It's probably, actually, if you think about it, it's Lulu W on the Kog'Maw is probably the go button that we'll see when the 5v5 start. Again, we see the replay. They know Renekton is behind them, but the moment that Prey...
Good range for the Crescendo.
That's a fair question. They know Renekton's not going to get to the backline if they move forward, and that is the decision, the small micro decision of just go forward. They have no front line, is what won Longzhu the fight.
This is really unfortunate.
This is Khan getting picked off by Caps as well. Just lands the stun, combos him down. Remember the full offensive build that Khan has built to try and get that split push pressure.
He's going for more. He's getting a second lethality. Has the Yomu's. Duskblade or Edge of Night's going to be next for that one. Basically what it turns into, Ruby Crystal versus another Longsword will tell you which one it's going to be. Khan gonna keep pushing the top side soon enough. Mid lane tier 2, we just saw fall. Cuz got the last hit credit on that one, so once again Longzhu with the turret kill lead, 6,000 gold up. The Baron buff still on most of their members, everyone except Khan, who died. He sees SOAS and then turns away.
And we've seen very fast ascents when Longzhu have got big leads in games. They often finish moments later. This Baron buff for now, it's halfway done, hasn't led to them cracking the base. So for them actually to be stalled out, to try to multi-step their process of getting the lanes in the right position to make side lane pressure a thing, has slowed down the onslaught. You see Frey already now close to the inhibitor turret in the mid lane of FNATIC.
Yeah, that amount of harassment onto the Syndra, as well as seeing a teleportless Renekton in the bottom lane, signals that they can be very aggressive. They also land more poke onto Caps. So here we go, let's see how much they can get.
Quite a bit right here. Frey just has the shields, and of course, it's not only just the health picks, he's got the relic shield, Zargon's Ray shield as well, so he's got a lot of extra HP.
No armor on Caps, and now significant armor penetration or lethality stacked onto Khan. So basically going to be close to true damage on these EQ combos, taking about half his health with the last one.
Absolutely. No stun quite landing on Frey. The mid lane still going to do siege. Down about 10% right now. Now SOAS in the fight, but be careful. He's got to respect this one. Getting shot at, and Khan really wants his battle. SOAS running out of health. Pops he'll look for the trade, but here comes Redemption. It's going to be the kill. Coming through, Khan gets the credit anyway, and it did land in time, so Gorilla gets the assist.
So much coordination by Longzhu there. Redemption is not global. Longzhu pulled back, catching the minion wave in the process to speed it up with Baron to be in range for that Redemption and secure Khan's kill.
And you know the comms were, I'm going to fight him from Khan, and Gorilla saying, I'll throw a Redemption. Playing around that particular theater of battle, the Redemption area works a treat for Khan, guarantees the kill as they keep the pressure up mid lane.
And that's going to be the turret falling right now. Vector bonus not required. Spray gets that one picked up. 6-3 in turrets now. Longzhu looking to close it out in the near future. Khan getting some low time top lane as well.
Yeah, the Baron buff is just wearing off now, but they have cracked the base open and gotten down all the auxiliary turrets on the outside. Mission accomplished so far for Longzhu, and you're in again a situation with Jess's flash about to be up. Will they try and go
Frey?
Oh, good flash gets away from the crescendo, and a big stun coming to the front line as well. Reckless a bit in danger. Here comes the knockup, they want that fight. They get Frey. That's the most important kill. Now in the 5v4, is there more to be had? SOAS force back. Not quite the kill for Brox with the flash forward. Reckless gets another one. This time it works out for him. Instead of being a betrayal, 4v3 in this one. FNATIC 4 now have to kite back. Reckless and Co have to wait this out and give away the inhibitor.
Frey had the smooth moves in the front line, but did not have the rest of his team there. Notice, however, they may trade down in kills. They do cement the mid lane inhibitor. Certainly wasn't the level of clean we're used to with Longzhu, but you saw the side flash from Frey and you wondered what could be.
Yeah, he flashed away from the Sona ultimate, but staying in means he's still in burst range. And that fight, even though Longzhu did take the inhibitor, does kind of show that FNATIC has or had opportunity in this game with this team composition. They have a large amount of single target burst to potentially take down a Kog'Maw if he wants to be in the front line. And the open here from FNATIC is actually pretty good, seeing Jace over in the side.
And this is Juggermore, the Kog'Maw in the front line. Kaz was not frontlining there. Very nice flash to the side, but because Khan isn't even in EQ range, FNATIC realized they can go.
It was actually a 3v5. BDD was also off on the other side, so FNATIC very willing to opt into that fight. And it's a 2-for-1 once Longzhu does collapse with their solars.
See, that reset means much. Another item comes through for Reckless. He's got Phantom Dances, so 80% crit Twitch. Again, he's like gonna be the bot lane carry. You saw his damage in the last fight, double anyone else on his squad. He is the one to watch for. And Frey, despite dying early, actually got a decent amount thanks to a Kafkan surprise. Probably about 2/3 of that was true damage via the passive, but hey, it is what it is. He's got QSS now in this Kog'Maw, so Frey gonna be even more elusive because his flash is down.
Yeah, and we can see Reckless again with these crit items. He has been pretty much the main one doing any of the damage for FNATIC during the group stage. But what's interesting about this is he actually has the lowest damage per minute of AD carries in the group stage because FNATIC collectively has not found very many good fights.
It's an amazing contrast to being #1 in damage percentage. It means a high percentage of a low number, but it still means that Reckless has been the cornerstone and one of the few things to shine, even if it was this particular pick that, of course, in the late game, one decision really let down his team in the Immortals game.
It also often means that the rest of his team is not pitching in very much, but this time SOAS on a bit more of a damage threat. He's looking to act as backline. Caps 2-0-2. He's got a bunch of Magic Pen as well with the Void Staff done. which is good because Prey has 140 magic resist with his build right now, so it's not easy to get rid of the Kog'Maw on this Cinder, but he will certainly try.
It's not really easy for Fnatic to deal with the fact that Jace, you know, he's super big. He's going to go into one lane, and they can't send multiple group threats there because they have a super minion wave in mid lane to deal with, and Longzhu playing around top side, because if they get top side control, they can always fall back to Baron.
And to top it all off, it's a double Mountain Drake to threaten the Baron with. So Fnatic, if they want to go, actually needs to go now before Khan gets in turret range, because as soon as they start teleporting Saw's off the side.
Looking for it, they get the knock up on the Prey. QSS is there, he's going to cleanse, not even yet for a while, but he's got the shoes, he's got to stay alive. No kill to be had, and the front line going to be opened up on the Caps gets the first kill. He's on a spree for himself. Reckless stops to grab the red buff. His ulti is now down.
Pretty healthy.
Comes across into two, looking for Khan. He's going to kite away, stays up for now. But the lead gets the Prey, Hurricane on. He wants them all. He's got one so far. Jess is next up for the block. The flash forward, a double kill so far for Prey. Third one on the meter, looking for Caps. He's going to be BDD chasing him down. Gets revenge for the laning phase, and Prey can't quite kite it away, but 2 kills for Soaz. Might have bought enough time. Broxa staying alive, but here comes Khan. He wants this one. Does the damage exist? He's got ulti. This could be a kill for Broxa. Gets knocked back, pops the ult. Does he have the damage? No, he doesn't. The ace comes through. 2 members alive. With the inhibitor dead, this could be the game closing.
How much can they close? That fight was actually so close. Fnatic initiated exactly when they had to, but then Prey waited out all of the CC before unleashing.
And you see why teams don't take this approach. The fights with Jace are oh so hard, but one great fight, vintage Prey frontlining on the Kog'Maw, in and out, will win Longzhu the game.
Looks like a 32-minute victory. Still going to be a pretty fast one for Worlds 2017 standards. 4-0, the record for Longzhu. Not secure top 8 yet, but dangerously close.
Yeah, 11.5 minutes slower than the last time they played Fnatic, but still substantially faster than the group stage average. Longzhu take the fight and take it home.
What did we say as this game was opening up? We said with the win of the Gigabyte Marines, this was not do or die for Fnatic when it comes to victory. But I would say it was do or die for Fnatic in terms of showing character, in terms of persevering through a very difficult game. They did not win, but they did not capitulate either. And that was an important thing for Fnatic fans to see. They are a very proud organization. They did not roll over against Longzhu.
Longzhu much more coordinated than Fnatic, but Fnatic had the right idea and I think a pretty good strategy coming into this game, and you'll have to see how that can translate throughout the rest of the day. Longzhu is going to be all smiles. They're the ones in control of this group. They're at 4-0, and with one more win, absolutely clinching, have not given any indication that they won't continue to dominate.
Yeah, looking very good right now. Longzhu, the LCK champions. They are my tournament favorite for this one because they had beat SKT in that best-of-5 final. Not everyone will agree that's okay, but this is one of the very, very strong squads. They are 4-0. They are the fastest winners so far in this tournament. They are, again, 1 win away from clinching the top 8. They're very close to clinching the #1 seed as well. They'd have to, they would be very close to clinching #1. And either way, it's a great win for Longzhu. And let's hear more now from Dash and the analysts.
Thank you very much. For continued struggles for Fnatic as Longzhu continue to look dominant here in the group, moving to 4-0.
Not a big surprise. Obviously, the Longzhu wins the game, but as the casters were saying, in the end, Fnatic did actually do something to fight back. Unlike the first time we saw these guys play, and it was 20 minutes and a dancing Rift held, the game was basically over instantly.
Right, it's a tall order to come into the, the first game of your week 2 and play against the group favorite when you are the team looking to mount, a number of consecutive wins in order to move on to the knockout stage.
They exceeded expectations, right? Soaz, he got a better matchup with the Renekton to the Jace. He was keeping up in CS. He wasn't dying all over the map. He was actually being proactive for himself. Broxa with an early game jungler. So I think Fnatic had a better idea of how to attack Longzhu. Now Longzhu got a sick draft for themselves with Jace, with the Ryze, with the champions that they all basically played for quite some time. So you can't really target this team, but I know you had some questions about the bottom lane.
Right, I think the Sona in the bot lane surprised me quite a lot. Because it seemed to me like Fnatic wanted to draft with his stronger early game on top side and try and play a little bit faster against Longzhu. But I think Sona Twitch is a very slow early lane that needs a lot of time to scale into late game, especially after Sona kind of stopped being a big lane bully. And they couldn't really get ahead in the bot lane against the little Kog'Maw, and that was a big issue for them as well.
I mean, at the same time, I think had they just gone even, it would have been okay in the bot lane. You know, they did not go even. I think largely in part to some mistakes from them. They died 2v2. They gave up their turret 2v2. So to me, I think the Sona actually did make sense as a pick. It just didn't necessarily get executed as well as it could have, because when you think about the ability to heal through Jace poke later in the game, the ability to apply Ardent Sensor constantly to all these people who are auto attackers dealing physical damage with the, you know, the Rek'Sai as well as your top laner and your AD carry, it seems to make some sense.
I guess also one thing they wanted was some sort of engage on Jessis. It's been a thing they've been playing with in Europe quite a lot, and when they didn't have it, no one else kind of stepped up and were the main engage. And obviously Rek'Sai and Renekton can't start the fights, but for laning phase, I would have taken Karma personally.
In a few moments, we saw the potential of that Sona ultimate, right? But the casters talked about Longzhu just looking so much more in sync than Fnatic, so much more on the same page. And I want to kind of roll through a few examples and look at it from the Fnatic side, because they're the ones playing next. They have to retool and come back on stage and win a game here.
And here, Fnatic needs to commit everything. 2 ultimates between Sona and Syndra, but Twitch does not open up, and then the rest are disjointed with SOAS and Broxah choosing to go on Gorilla and not Prey, and it just collapses because they are not on the same page.
Yeah, and I think this was kind of one of the issues for Fnatic throughout a lot of the game. It did feel like there's different ideas about how to approach the fight, or different ideas about what they should be doing in the fight, and perhaps people are not really executing on the level they need to.
Right.
You pretty much need to have everything perfectly timed, perfectly orchestrated to be able to take down a team like Longzhu.
Yeah, and I feel like this could be like a revenge game for SOAS. You know, getting Renekton, as you mentioned earlier, he didn't get completely destroyed in the laning phase, but in a lot of team fights, he never had much of an impact. This is an engage from
Watch his flank. He's off the map.
Yeah, but like, so his support has already missed or quote-unquote failed the engage, which is supposed to land on more than just one person when the Twitch is in position.
But again, you saw the setup there, right? Renekton getting into position behind the enemy team, looking for that big engagement. They do catch the Kog'Maw, but everyone's just far enough away to not be able to collapse and actually capitalize on the catch.
Exactly. I mean, neither side of the collapse was actually prepared for the ultimate. Jessis goes for the ultimate. Twitch is not in range to ult. Syndra's not in range to ult. SOAS is still full screen away.
Yeah.
And that has to be perfectly timed, right? Especially when it's a Lulu to back up this Kog'Maw. This is not something that you can just slowly whittle down. You have to burst him instantly or you will lose the fight.
And it's no secret that Fnatic obviously has their internal issues, but I think that when we look at a play like this, like what we just saw, it's not just communication. It's clearly something that has not been practiced enough, that they are not aware, because you actually playing there's somebody flanking from behind, you understand the timings from each other, and that just wasn't there for this team.
Now it brings us to the final fight of the game. Looks scary for Longzhu at first, but Prey going to come up big for the squad, carry them through to a victory. This is your Ace of Predator replay.
They win the late game now, and Jessis again feeling confident he can still find engages. Prey actually takes that blast cone and kind of messes it up for him.